Hello everyone and welcome to the second review of Fire Brigade, and today we have a really good issue. We see two faces of the villains, technically three you could say, but one of them is more just a pawn and has been released and awoken by the others. So it starts off with a shot of the guy who walks away and a weird scientist guy who sits at his desk surrounded in a room with crazy jars. There's all sorts of small beings in jars and stuff. There's like a lobster and whatever else. There's a frog dissection graph on the wall as well, or a poster, you should say, whatever it is. I'm a silly European. I don't know words, so there you go. But it's definitely the lair of a crazy scientisty kind of person. And he also sports a smile pretty equal to a crazed flame person, so that's very interesting. There's something about smiles in this manga, by the way. Shinra has one out of, well, nerves, and yeah, just being put under pressure and stuff. I assume it's his way to cope with all the crazy eyes on him for people thinking that he killed his family or whatever else. Meanwhile, a crazy fire spirit, a flame person of the first generation, has, well, would you even call him first generation? The fucked up flame person, the rabid ones. Well, yeah, killed his family pretty much, or allegedly killed his family and left everything in ashes and left him with the blame as well. So far, all the flame persons we've seen, by the way, have sported some sort of crazy, wide, toothy grin. Just a void and just a toothy grin. That's all we've seen. Now, these villains as well, they also sport crazed smiles. And, well, yeah, they're clearly evil. I mean, look at where one has his lair, and then the other guy comes to pick something up. And he actually comes here to pick up the powder. Now, these first two pages are actually before the entire thing happens, before the brigade is rolled out, before the father was actually turned into a flame person as well. It's pretty interesting that they kicked it off like this, because we get to see a little bit about the powder, and the powder is referred to as, well, not really chaos powder, but the powder is the beginning to chaos. So, apparently within that powder, because on the second panel we hear the scientist guy talk, like, if you use that guy, it's dangerous, like he's crazy, etc, etc. It's also a very mischievous person that is invoked by that fire, which is weird, by the way, because apparently the powder in the tiny bottle can summon flame spirits of sorts in similar fashion to how Maki is doing her fire manipulation, but in this case, it's actually an entity that is capable of self-thought and can function on its own. You just need to pretty much awaken it, and then it could just fuck around in some cases. It's really strange, and that's what the powder was apparently. That powder, yeah, sparks up a flame spirit. That's what we're gonna call him by now, and that is done by Joker. Joker is the guy with, well, one of his eyes covered. He's got the silly hat on as well. He's not the scientist guy, and you'll see why I call him Joker later, because he kind of hints towards it, kind of introduces himself in a smuggish way, or maybe it is actually referring to the fire, but he is also very much a Joker himself, because constantly smiling and always looks like he's laughing at stuff when there's dire things about. Anyway, let's go on ahead now. And then we get the shot of the house once again. We see the flame spirit who is invoked once again actually just showing his tongue, well, I assume his, her, whatever, really, the spirit's tongue off to the flame brigade and mocking people. And the company commander even mentions, like, this flame person is actually ridiculing us with, well, yeah, with thoughts of his own. Like, he's knowingly doing this towards us to ridicule us, to knowingly actually mock a fire brigade who's coming in there to put this person at peace. Which eventually makes you believe, like, they're separate entities of sorts. Like, what is going on here? Because this is not how flame persons act. As you know, for, well, up until now, flame persons only really act there to, like, react to distant memories. They're linked to memories, they're linked to places that has a memory of sorts, as the woman flame person that we've seen a little bit ago in some issues. She was locked to a certain place, and she responded by violently trying to protect her place. She was very territorial in that respect. The guy on the train was crazy erratic, and just sought to see, well, force out havoc and everything, try to cause destruction all over the place. That's what we've got from all the flame persons so far. The crazed ones, there's no middle way with them. They want to destroy And that's pretty much it. So they have to be put out of their misery because they are thoughtless monsters of sorts and only capable of very, very distant thoughts and retaining some memory. And then we get to the dad, which is it's kind of a sad scene because the dad is still just sitting at the chair at the table, saying "Welcome home," as if his daughter has come home again, but it's just the fire brigade. So I don't know why this guy's not being violent. I do have a theory of sorts, speculating really, and that's also, by the way, really a fun part of Fire Brigade so far because it's still in its baby steps and everything, and we get to speculate about everything, about powers, about ranks, about people, whatever else, and see, oh, are we right? Were we on the right track or something? Because it's so early on, so we can throw out wild ideas, which is so cool. So I'm sorry if I sometimes go off a tangent and trying to speculate too much, but I want to believe that this guy is also not being violent because he wasn't spontaneously combusted. All the other people who were spontaneously combusted, actually spontaneously combusted, by the way, because there's clear thought about this guy, like after this guy, like what happened to him. We know that that guy, Joker, was involved. So this guy, I want to say, he's not at all been spontaneously combusted. This guy has been combusted by Joker. And that's why he's not being violent. That's why he's still there, welcoming his daughter home. He's also apparently being used to summon the Flame Spirit, who is just fucking around and kind of just causing mayhem, really. Not really doing anything crazy significant, but more just mocking the Fire Brigade as they do their work, as they try to set this person free. And it's kind of sad, but yeah. Arthur actually jumps to the opportunity to take out his first flame person, which I thought was impressive. I gotta say, very impressive, because up until that point, Arthur was more just fucking around, wasn't really showing to be crazy serious just yet. Doesn't want to wear the hat, which I still don't get, honestly, because what if something does fall on your head, especially in these cases? I don't know, like I said, I speculate about that as well. Could be something with his ability, like he couldn't gain oxygen or something. We don't know just yet, but he steps up to the plate for this one, and yeah, everyone says the pair. He takes him out clean, because the guy doesn't even fight back, by the way, which once again means, well, yeah, this guy is clinging to one memory. And as you could see, this guy was clinging to the memory of his daughter coming home, and still thought, like, oh, he was just at home and everything, and that's what he clung to. It's really, really sad, because later on as well, after he passes on the soul, which I hope was successful, the guy just says his daughter's name, Mikako, and it's kind of fucked up, because that's when you realize as well, yeah, they are taking care of these menaces of sorts, but they are in fact, like the commander has said before in previous issues, it is in fact killing someone and just getting them out of the way. And you have to be, yeah, ready, emotionally ready for that. You have to know that and accept that, like, we are actually killing people, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's a little bit impactful in this issue as well, I must say. And then something, probably the coolest thing of this issue happens. The battalion commander, or well, actually the company commander first of all, spots that the roof is coming down because the flame spirit apparently has given them enough time to play around in there, or just will do what they needed to do, and is now trying to play with them, or fuck shit up, if you will. So they're getting out really quickly, but good old battalion commander spots a picture. Spots a picture of the girl and her family, pretty much the last memory she would have if he would successfully save it and take it with him outside. If the house goes up in flames, I assume there's like no records of her anymore, no pictures of her and her family, and it's pretty much also the last memory that she would have of her and her mom, because she passed away years as well. So yeah, he goes for it. He takes it with him, but boom, the roof comes down upon him. And that's when we find out why he's so dedicated to training all the time. Because we see him train constantly. He's even training when he's talking to Shinra when he first shows up and everything. The guy trains like crazy. He makes sure to stay super in shape. And the reason is because of situations like this. He was actually able to keep that off him just by his own strength. And that's how he's compensating. He is insanely good without an ability, and that blows me away. He's coping as a battalion commander, as a person who leads a brigade into situations like this, with, yeah, just making sure he's strong enough to take on situations, and also, of course, having a brain to deal with it. And that's, he's got to do this, because he's also remarked to this in earlier issues, by the way. He said that he needs to carry 30 kilos of equipment with him to compensate for not being an ability user, and that the others don't really have to at all. And that is, yeah, that's a big reason why he's training so much. He wants to be strong enough to not just get shit on by situations like this, to be able to save mementos. Even though it might seem like a crazy life-endangering situation, he gives it to the girl, and I imagine it helps Mikako out a lot, because she has lost everything. This is the second time it happens to her. First her mother, now her father. She's lost everything. She is about to just break out completely. It's really sad. And what if it actually, like, spontaneously combusting has to do with also your own personal state? Like, what if you're insanely depressed or something, and it's easier for the flames to overtake you? I really don't know. Like, what if that's the thing as well? Of course, they don't know that at this time, because the commander is simply acting out of kindness and wants to give the girl a glimmer of hope in a really shitty, dark situation right now, which I found very honorable of him. It was a really good... It was a good thing. It was a really good gesture. And then we get a good shot of Joker, which I assume is the person itself, the second generation fire person itself. I don't think it's the Flame Spirit, because it would be kind of weird for him to introduce the Flame Spirit. I think he's just spelling out his own trickster name. So for now, I'm going to call this guy the Joker. If you think otherwise, please do tell me, and why would be cool as well, because I think this guy's the Joker, so we can give him a name now. And he's kind of surprised that the Flame Spirit is still just pretty much trolling around, because the Brigade is already worked up enough for a fight. And then we see something else interesting. We see Iris respond to Mikako being insanely hopeless and desperate and afraid that the flames will get her next. We see Iris just talk to herself like, what do I say to this girl? How do I help her? All I can do is pray to God, really. That's how she deals with it. Until good old Battalion Commander offers over the picture, and you see that it restores some hope. I know it's not a lot, but still, being given some hope in these situations, I imagine, is insanely supportive, and would hopefully help her break away from this horrible disaster that happened to her. And then we get to the last panel, which is once again impactful, because Shinra's worrying about that he wasn't able to do anything. Honestly, Shinra shouldn't worry so much, because there was only one flame person. He didn't have to save he didn't have to save Obi. He didn't have to. Obi was completely capable of saving himself. Sure, would have been nice if he could have saved him somehow. Honestly, in my book, he's worrying too much. Shinra's still kind of trying to fit in and readjust to the entire new situation of actually being on active duty and seeing horrible atrocities and horrible things like that happen. So I want to say he's still adjusting to this stuff, because nobody else helped the commander either. So I don't think he should give himself shit for this. He's feeling a little bit down, of course, but Obi reassures him this is all we can do. That's why we jump into the fires. And yeah, it really shows that these guys have strong resolve. This 8th Fire Brigade has a strong resolve to try and fix the phenomena, the spontaneous combustion. Although in this case, I still say this was not spontaneous combustion at all. This was bullshit. This was instigated. This was done by someone. But yeah, they want to actually find like the reason behind this. Why is this happening? They want to solve this and stop this from happening to everyone else. And that's why they throw themselves so close to the fire as they pray. And that is how this issue ends. It is a very good issue. I'm sorry if my video was a little bit later. I've been busy today, and hopefully I didn't ramble as much today. But you guys let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of this issue? And if you're not reading it, go read it. What are you doing? It's not a lot of issues right now. And thank you guys very much. Until next time.